In this explainer, we're going to get into a really surprising and, honestly, pretty unsettling truth about something most of us just take for granted, and that's the home you own.
So let me ask you a question. It sounds simple, right? But the legal answer is, well, it's a whole other story. Is that house you live in, the property you own, is it really yours? Okay, picture this. You get a notice that the government wants to build a new metro line, and it's going to go right through your neighborhood, right through your house. What's the first thing you'd think? I bet it's something like, wait, what? No way. That's illegal. You can't just take my property. Well, here's the thing that might just blow your mind. The answer to, is it illegal, is no, it's not. In fact, it's often completely legal, and you absolutely need to understand how this is even possible. So how on earth is that legal? You'd think a power like that would be buried in some obscure, dusty law book, right? Nope. The legal reason for it is hiding in plain sight. It's right there, in the Constitution.
So let's look at Article 300A of the Indian Constitution. It says, "No person shall be deprived of his property save by authority of law." Now, when you first read that, it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? It sounds like it's protecting you, like it's a solid guarantee for property owners.
But, and this is a huge but, the entire game changes with those last few words, authority of law. That's not just some fancy legal phrase. What it really means is, if the government just passes a law that says it can take your property, then boom, taking your land is suddenly perfectly legal, totally constitutional. You see, that one little phrase in the Constitution opens the door to a much bigger, more powerful legal idea. It's a concept that gives the government this incredible power over private land, and it has a name. It's called eminent domain. And what is that? It's basically the government's power to take private property for what it calls public use. And yeah, they can do it forcefully. It's totally legal, but there's one big catch. They have to pay you for it. So what you have here is this massive power imbalance. On one side, you've got your right to your own property. And on the other side, you have the government saying it's for the public interest. And, public interest can mean just about anything. A new road, a new factory, you name it. Okay, so this probably leads you to the big question, the one that really matters if you're the one losing your home. What about fair compensation? The government has to pay, so that must be the thing that protects you, right?
Well, here's the kicker. Guess who decides what's fair compensation? Yep, it's the government. The very same people who are taking your land to begin with.
So, let's get practical. How does this actually happen? How does the process work? Back in 2013, a big law was passed that was supposed to make this whole thing fairer. So let's break down how it's supposed to start, right from step one. The law has this incredibly long name. Get ready for it. The Right to Fair Compensation and Transparency in Land Acquisition, Rehabilitation, and Resettlement Act of 2013. Whew, that's a mouthful, right? And you can see how every single word in that title is picked to make you feel reassured, to make you think the whole process is going to be fair and just.
I mean, just look at the words they use. Let's pull them out. Right, fair, transparency, rehabilitation, resettlement. These are really positive, powerful words, aren't they? They're clearly chosen to make it sound like a system that's on your side. But here's the million-dollar question. Does the reality of the process live up to all those nice-sounding words? To figure that out, let's look at the very first thing that happens when the government sets its sights on your land. Okay, so it all starts with step one, the preliminary survey. It's pretty straightforward. The government identifies some land at once for a project, and then they send out some officials to go survey it. But what's really, really important here is what doesn't happen. They don't need your permission to come onto your property and survey it. They don't ask for your opinion on the project. And get this, you might not even be officially told that the reason they're there is to figure out how to take your land. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The very first, most important decision, the decision that your property is the target, is made completely without you. You're not part of that conversation. So that leaves us with a pretty tough question to chew on. If a process that has fairness and transparency right in its name starts without your consent, without even letting you know what's happening, what does that tell you about how fair and transparent the rest of the process is really going to be?